Hey everyone, I'm going to be doing a review on the MAC 130 brush, which I know a few of you have been interested in and a couple of you requested. So Dalal784 and LunasyEstrellaz requested it, and I know a lot of people are curious about this brush, so I'm going to show you what it looks like. There we go. So it's really small, and I'm going to show you in comparison to the 187 as well, just to show you how small it is. So here we have a 187, and here we have a 130. Tiny, right? Okay, so this brush, like all of the duo-fibres, is made out of natural and synthetic bristles. It does have shorter and more dense bristles, which allow, for me, I think, more control of the product. As the bristles on this, I find this brush really difficult to use. I find it completely useless as a foundation because as soon as you put it on your face, the bristles just kind of splay and then they go in your eye and you have a red eye for the whole day, and I really don't like the 187, and I know a lot of people do. So just saying that this is a lot shorter and a lot denser. The bristles do not splay like the 187, and it's a lot more easy to use. It also lets you get into smaller places on your face more easily. So if you were to use it for foundation, you can get really easily under the eye, around, oh, don't know which side I'm going there, around the nose, and just like really small areas which are much more difficult to reach with a bigger foundation brush. Because the problem I have with the 187 was when I was using it, when I went under my eye, I'd always end up getting a bristle in my eye, and that's quite painful. And I don't think I couldn't use it for my face because I just found it too irritating to sit there patiently going for like 20 minutes, because this brush just took me too long because I had to be really gentle. And when I'm in a rush in the morning, I want something that's going to be quick. So this brush is a lot smaller, as I've said, and it's not really a stippling brush. It's not really a brush where you just sit there and go like that, because that would be ridiculous. Have you seen how small this thing is? If you use it for a stippling brush, good luck to you, because it will take a lot of time. What it's really good for is buffing. I've been using this primarily to put my foundation on, and I found that it's really excellent if you just buff, just like that, really gently, and put foundation on your skin. Because you're buffing, you use a lot less foundation, you use a lot less product, so your foundation goes a lot long, I can't speak today. You know what I'm trying to say. You get more money, you get more mileage for your money. Right, okay, we've spat that phrase out now. Okay. So, I actually found this brush took me quite a while to put my foundation on with, because it is so small, but the effect that it gives is no worse. Well, I should say it's pretty much, it gives me the effect that this gives my skin, which is airbrushed, really brilliant, beautiful skin. So on that basis, it's a really nice brush for applying foundation, but it depends how much time you have. You may want to go with a brush that's got longer, more, a bigger head, for example. But although it's dense, it's not really stiff. Like, it's got give, but it's not really stiff. But if you see the 187, it just kind of splays like that. But the same amount of pressure on this brush, it gives a bit, but it holds up well. But what I will show you is the difference in density of the brushes. Whoa, let's see if I can see. If you can see this one, the 187, has got a lot of gaps and a lot of movement, a lot of gaps where the bristles can move. So, much more suited to stippling if you're that way inclined. As you can see with this one, there's a lot fewer air gaps, it's a lot dense, it's a lot more tightly packed. So basically, it's the 187 but in a smaller space, I think. Maybe that's just me, but it feels like it's the 187 brush in a bit of a smaller space. But what I will say about this brush is that it's the same length as the other brush essentially, so the handle's exactly the same. You know what, if you've had a 187, you know what to expect with this brush. What I will say is that it's bled a lot less than my 187, and I've washed it about 4 times. I've deep cleaned it 4 times just to see how it holds up under washing, and it holds up really well. I've had a lot less bristle breakage on this brush. It doesn't leave those annoying little black bristles that you get. I always get bristle breakage when I use my 187, and I always get it all over my face. Like, I have to go around and pick bits of bristle off my face after I've done my makeup, and that really irritates me. So I've had a lot less bristle breakage, presumably because the bristles are so short and dense that they're a lot stronger. Like, there's more give to this brush, so the bristles have a lot more room to swirl around, which is why they break, because they become fragile because they move a lot. But this one, I found it's really well made, it's really good quality, and I'm really happy with the way that it's washed and the way that it wears so far. So the way that I've used this for loads of things, and that's my favourite thing about this brush. The first thing I did was pick it up and use it with foundation. I've used it with all of my foundations, and I have to say it's a really nice finish. I even did a test where I did half of my face with this brush, which is now my current favourite brush, and I did half of my face with this brush, and I honestly couldn't tell which side I'd done with either brush because the finish was just as good on this as this. I don't know what that says, seeing as this cost me £4 and this cost me 27, but the finish on this brush is really, really good, and it's not really much effort, it just takes a bit of time. So I really do like the finish on this brush for foundation. So what I do is I just put a bit on the back of my hand, and I will just literally just buff until it's all in. I don't find it goes any more streaky or any less streaky with this brush at all, so there's not much more effort required. I don't need to go buff out any lines because it's pretty easy. It's pretty foolproof with this brush. The other primary reason I got this brush is for cream and powder. Ooh, card just went past. Cream and powder blush. This is lovely for cream blush. It really is. It's basically, when I got my blush in Posy, which was my blush cream, I was using this, which was not only depositing hair on my face and depositing too much product on my face, it was actually leaving hairs in the blush because all of the hairs just are fragile and they break off. But with this, I found it a lot easier because you can actually just concentrate the product on a much smaller area and buff out to your heart's content. So it's much easier to control where you put the product, and you can shear it out really well with this product. So it's hard to put too much on, whereas with this, with a cream blush, I find it much easier to put way too much on it, like a pantomime dame. So I really love this for cream blush. I found it performs really well with powder blush as well. With powder blush, I'm kind of ambivalent. I mean, it's okay. It's a brush, so for me, if it applies the product fine, I'm happy. But I have not really got much to say. It just applies powder like any other thing. But the other thing I really like this for is for contouring. It's actually the perfect size for just getting a bit of bronzer and going under there. So it's really, really multi-purpose. It's also really good for highlight. If you want to get a bit of highlight across your cheekbones, it's a really nice size. It also fits just under the brow. If you're in a pinch, you can just about fit it under the brow. I can't see what I'm doing, so just like that. So it's really nice for cream colour bases, so I've heard. I don't own any cream colour bases and don't really intend to, but from what I've heard, this is really lovely for cream colour bases. And it's also quite good for powders, although it's not my first choice of a powder brush, but if I'm in a pinch, I really like to use this with a pressed powder to set my foundation. Sorry, loose powder's not so much, but pressed powder is okay. In terms of price, it is £27 in the UK. I believe it's going to be $38 in the US. I'm not sure if this is permanent or not. Some people have said it is permanent, some people have said it's limited edition. So what I would say is when it comes out, if you really want to try it, get it now, and don't buy one off eBay, because if you don't get it now, then you might regret it. So my conclusion, I'm actually going to go buy another one of these, not because I'm greedy, but because I want one for cream blush and one for foundation. So I'm going to go get a second one of these so that I don't have to keep washing it. I absolutely love this brush. It's everything I wanted the 187 to be, but it never was. It's really easy to put on your foundation, and it gives you a really beautiful finish. So hopefully you found this review helpful, everyone. And yeah, I really hope you enjoy this brush if you buy it, because I think it's lovely. So take care. Oh, didn't even press stop then.